Hi, this is Ibit, and today I'm going to look at a very nice historic game played between two English grandmasters. Raymond Keene had the white pieces and Tony Miles the black pieces, and this was played in one of the more historic tournaments around, Hastings. It was played in Hastings in 1976. Raymond Keene and Tony Miles, both among the first English grandmasters in history, and Raymond Keene had the white pieces. And let's have a look at this game. Knight to f3 by Keene. It starts off a bit slowly. Knight f6, symmetrical English, c4 c5, and now we will soon transpose to an isolated queen pawn, which can arise from many openings. Keene is first to break the tension here. a3 is actually the most common move to, well, make black make the decision, but Keene goes for c takes d5. E takes d5 is the most common move when you have to accept the double pawn. Sorry, the isolated pawn for black, but knight takes d5 tries to settle white with the isolated pawn. Bishop d3 by white, and yeah, here bishop e7 is perhaps slightly more common and keeps the tension, but Miles takes on d4, giving white the so-called isolated queen pawn. So-called because it's isolated and it is a queen pawn. No mysteries there. Bishop e7, both sides get castled, and rook to e1. Here knight to f6 was played by Miles, but bishop f6 is more common, and it looks like a more solid variation after bishop f6. Bishop e4 is the most common move, and now knight c2 e7. And black has a bit more control over the key d5 square here, and yeah, harder to get. Immediately checkmated. In the game, Miles went with knight to f6, and notice how all the moves from white are quite natural. Bishop to g5. Now knight b4. Another option is b6 and bishop b7. Because this, I'm not too sure about this move. It's hard to find the mistake for black really, but this could be like an inaccuracy that black can improve upon. Bishop to b1. b6. Now with the pawns here, it looks like the most natural square for the bishop is to put it on b7. Knight e5. So white is getting very active, and now after bishop to b7, he employs one of many attacking ideas that white has in this structure. So black has, the structure is better for black. I mean, this is a weak pawn, but in return white has free piece play. As you can see, a strong bishop on this diagonal. This knight is well posted here on e5, and all the pieces are quite nice. And now he plays rook to e3. The rook lift, and the rook can go to g3 or h3 depending on circumstances. Now the immediate threat, if we give white the move again, is to take on f6. Bishop takes f6, and what now? Go for the attack, show me your attacking prowess. Bishop takes h7, correctamundo. King takes, queen h5 check, king g8 and rook h3. And nothing to be done against the mate except to give up the bishop here, but that's only postponing it, and you have to give up the queen as well. So that explains why Miles after rook to e3 plays g6, closing down this diagonal seemingly. But now rook g3. It looked more natural to put the rook on the h3 square, but seems like Keene is eyeing the g6 pawn. It looks like it's firmly defended, but let's wait and see what happens. Rook to c8. Perhaps here was the last chance to do something. Knight c6. Would have been a good move. After bishop h6, black would have to sacrifice the exchange. But in return, after something like this, black has a very strong black squared bishop, one pawn, and the potential nice d5 square which he can use for his pieces. Of course white is better there, but not much. Instead, Miles played rook c8. Let's get the position back, rook c8. Now another standard move for white. Once black has played g6, the h6 square becomes quite juicy for the bishop. It's closing down the king and also sets up some tactics for the knight in some cases. a3 now by Keene, and this sets up a very nice tactic. Here I want you to pause the video and find out how Raymond Keene broke through against John Anthony Miles. Anthony Miles, the black pieces, Hastings, 1976. And what was the move that Raymond Keene hit him with here? Are you ready? Let's have a look. He played knight takes g6, attacking the strongest point. It looks like g6 is well defended by 2 pawns, but white just goes for it. He takes on g6 twice. Now, not taking looks simply suicidal. The bishop will give a discover check somewhere and we're crashing through. After f takes g6, what's the idea here? Naturally, you had to find what to do here before you took on g6. But since we're here, what does white do here? How do we continue the attack? But be careful, be careful. I really like the maneuver here. The winning move is, are you ready? Queen to b1. First, let's examine what's wrong with other moves like queen d3. Seems like the same idea. We're attacking the g6 pawn, the weakness in black's position. But here black can play knight e5, and because of the pin, the queen on d8 is lining up against the queen. Black is defending for now. Queen c2, same idea, crashing through on g6, but now knight e5, d takes e5, and now knight to e4. And now there's another pin on the c file and black defends. So that leaves only one move, and that's a move that Keene played and found. Queen to b1. And now you can't protect g6. If you allow the queen to capture it, it's just checkmate immediately on g7. So Miles tried throwing everything at him here, knight e5, covering the g6 pawn, but we take. Knight e4 blocking the diagonal, but now there's no pin on the c file, so we just take. And yeah, this is just game over. Keene played, Miles. Keep messing it up. King h7, but now knight f6 check. Another temporary sacrifice after bishop takes, queen takes g6, king h8, and the finishing touch, bishop g7. And Miles just allowed him to checkmate here. Took on g7 and queen takes g7. Checkmate, such a nice attack, deserves a checkmate. And I'm sure that Miles appreciated that and allowed his compatriot to checkmate him. A really nice attack, one of my favorites. It's really cool how white breaks through on the seemingly well guarded g6 square. And also really like this queen maneuver here, queen to b1. Avoiding all the pins and crashing through. So a very cool game by Raymond Keene. Hope you enjoyed that one. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.